Hello learners, I am Arvinder Kaur Pabla, Deputy Director, Center for Languages and Communication at SGT University. I am also functioning along with that as Deputy Director at Center for Excellence of Introductory and Pedagogical Sciences at SGT University. If I tell you something about myself, I am a master coach, communication specialist, and at the same time, I'm also NLP practitioner. So communication is something that I have been associated with since I started off my career. Today, I am here to discuss with you about business communication. We are beginning that series. So today we can look at it as more of an introduction to the entire series that we will be taking up. Today in this particular session, what we are going to explore is how communication is around us everywhere, around our entire life, right? Along with that, how communication has evolved from ancient times till today. Along with that, further, we will also discuss why business communication, that is why we are here today, right? So why it matters, why we need to study it, why do we need to learn it, right? And the next one would be, how do we make that professional communication possible for us from a general communication? This is what we are all going to talk of. But before we dive deep into that, I want you to take a step back, reflect. How did you start your today? Every day that you start off, what were the first few actions that you take? How you go ahead and look into that particular environment, revisit it. When you got up, maybe you got up to an alarm. After the alarm, the first thing that everyone, today's generation, generally ends up doing, that would be that they go ahead and they check up their WhatsApp. Did you read the message? Did you reply to a text there? Along with that, after, you could have gone ahead and maybe checked your social media as well. Did you go on to Instagram? Did you check who has liked the post that you had posted? Who is there who's posting what? What are your friends up to? Did you go ahead and interact with that? And few of you could have even gone ahead and booked breakfast for yourselves, ordered it. All right, today I want to try something else. Or maybe the quick commerce has become a part of our life. Quick commerce, Blinkit, Zomato. Did we use that? Zepto. Did we go ahead and use those online apps for ourselves? Did we book a cab for ourselves, maybe for our family, for our friends? Did you make an online payment? Just think of all those small little actions that you have been doing in the very first hour of the day. The case that I'm trying to highlight here is communication is not only the words that we speak to the people around us immediately. That is not the only way or only point of communication. Communication is pervasive to us. We look around us. We are all the time, even when, think about it, even when you are not speaking, you are communicating. If I take you even back, I took you into 1 hour of the day for yourself, right? Now go ahead. I would say, when was the first time when you remember that you communicated? When was that? When does a child start communicating? It starts, I would say, it starts in the womb of a mother, right? When the mother gets to know that yes, she's carrying a child, at that point of time, you've communicated your presence to the mother. So the communication is not something that has to be intentional. If it is intentional, it is going to be beautiful. It will become better for you. But communication happens whether you want to communicate or you don't want to communicate. And it is not dependent just on words. It is dependent on a lot of things happening around us. Now I want you to situate yourself into your daily life. Now, when you think of your life, when you think of how you're communicating beyond that 1 hour, beyond everything else, when you're generally communicating, focus on what was it that you said that someone actually misunderstood. Was there a message that someone else misunderstood? Was there a conversation that left you feeling, oh, today I've been hurt? This is something I really wanted somebody to understand me, my point of view, and they understood. Do you think that happened to you? And along with that, I want you to focus also when you're communicating with someone, at that point of time, which particular platform, which particular mode are you using the most? Which one is your preferred one? And why is that one? I want you to think about that. Why I want you to think about that is because even when you're communicating, you could be thinking that I've done my best. It is the other person who is not able to understand me. Right? Along with that, there could be a conversation where you are saying that, yes, I'm heard. This person really clearly got me. Those are the people that we connect with more. They might even become our best friends. So, communication is not simply speaking, it is also ensuring that the other person understands. It is not something that we do occasionally. We are permeated in the environment where we learn, we build relationships, we solve the problems around, we prepare for our professional life, we prepare for our personal life. We go ahead, build those relationships that will help guide us in personal, academic, and professional worlds. So, do not think of communication as a separate idea. It is something that we do. And if you look into it, you are 21st century learners. You are also the modern learners. Right? Now, the communication has been changing. It has been changing not only through the modes or the mediums that we have been using. Say, for example, we could start from the cave paintings. We start from cave painting. From cave paintings, we maybe started off with the numerals, the carvings. From carvings, we moved on. Gradually, we walked into the prints, the books. From there, we started with the mass media. And the mass media, when we are looking into it, TV, the radio. And gradually from there, we walked into the social media, the AI, the WhatsApp. All of these things, how they are all changing. They're changing gradually. And right now, at this point of time when you are growing up, time when you are learning, communication is evolving. There's Teams, there are Zoom platform, then there is all WebEx, you name it, and there are multiple channels through which communication is happening. You go ahead, you just need to choose. That's the reason why I asked you. Think, what is your most preferred medium that you use to communicate? And why is it so? Is it because it is getting very prompt? Is it because the people that you're communicating with, they are the ones who are available there? What is it? From here, get into the messaging apps, the online classrooms. Look into the way we are interacting right now. You are learning. We are able to communicate that over to you. We are able to also go ahead and work on a collaborative documents anytime we want to. It is all that you need is maybe put it up on a Google Classroom. There you can work on the assignment yourself while others are also contributing to the same. So Google Documents, that workspace is something that is collaborative. You're able to work on it. You do not need to anymore draft one, send it through email, the other person downloads, works on it and sends it back. That is how the communication is evolving. And we have to evolve along with it. Now the big $1 million question. It is, you might also be thinking about that. And it is, if we have always communicated, why do we need to study it formally? Why the business communication is being taken up, is being taught across decades to the learners? Why? Because there is a difference between communicating naturally versus communicating professionally, right? So let me try and highlight it to you through this particular one example. Look into this sentence. can you come and see me for a few minutes? This is a message. Put into the shoes of a receiver. You've received this message, right? If you receive this message, now what will vary is who is the sender of this message. If, for example, you receive it from a closest friend, oh, it is casual, you're excited. Oh, my friend is inviting me. I would like to go. It is a low stake one. You're excited. It is casual. If you receive the same message from the class representative, you will think of, oh, might be some routine work. This person, maybe he wants some signature. Maybe he has received assignments that have been corrected by the faculty and he wants to hand it over to me. Or maybe there is an additional responsibility or something that needs to come over my way, but it is a routine test, routine call. I'll go and bump in anytime I want to, right? And the same text, if you receive it from your faculty mentor, now the stakes have raised themselves a bit. Why they have raised themselves a bit? A faculty calling you to come and see. What comes to your mind? I bet it would be, oh, I have missed an assignment. Or it could be, the test that I appeared for, I haven't scored well there. Or maybe, oh, yesterday I had this particular argument with my classmate. There, maybe there is a problem and the person has reported. The stakes, the palpitation, a little bit of anxiousness comes in. And the final one that I want you to think of is, you have gone for an interview. You're waiting outside for them to share the results. And that is when there comes this particular message. Can you come in and see me for a few minutes? Think about it. Your heart, it would be palpitating at that point of time. It would be saying, oh my God, what is it? Am I through with the interview? Have I been selected? Or at the same time, what is it that you're looking at? Have they rejected it? Or do they want another round? What is it? Now the stakes have risen themselves way beyond. Same situation. What is changing now? The same set of words. What's changing here? From a low stakes, a friend calling you in, to a HR manager where your career could be taking off. Same sentence, same words, but the context has varied. The situation has changed. The implications have changed. At the same time, your response to it has also changed. At all the 4 situations that you're looking at, that is the case in point, and that is the reason why we need to learn that yes, communicating generally versus communicating professionally, there's a difference. Closest friend is the personal general communication you get into every time, every place, versus such high stakes communication where your career is also at stake. You really want it to work. So that is a difference. Here, that's also the reason why we need to go ahead and learn. But when I say that we need to learn professional communication or business communication, I'm not trying to apply that you are going to learn it from scratch. It is not. Because you're already learning. How you're already learning? If you go into the classroom, you ask questions. Those questions, you're learning how to ask questions. You're learning how to be respectful to the person. You're also at the same time learning how to find the gap where you can learn and ask the question. If you're doing those questions, you are putting it to usage in terms of professional communication. What will be the professional application? Professional application will be you're sitting in a meeting, and in a meeting you need to raise a point. And you now have to learn how to put that point across respectfully and when to put it across, find the logical reasoning behind it, and in such a manner that it is heard and responded to. Right? That critical thinking is something that will come in here. In your personal domain, it might not matter too much. People might ignore and they might continue. But in professional domains and settings, it will make a lot of difference to how you're viewed, how your reputation builds up, how your brand gets built up. Come back to the group work. There are a lot of group works that are assigned to all the students. There's a reason behind it. Group work teaches you how to go ahead first delegate work. When you're delegating work, how to communicate with each other, how to coordinate with each other, how to ensure that the timelines are met. What are we talking of? Is actually working in teams at the workplace. So this becomes the classroom. It becomes your area of going ahead and fail-safe setting where you can try, you can test, and you can go ahead and experiment. This becomes your learning domain. Now here the examples that I am giving you are of the campus, of the classroom, of learning together. I am not saying personal domain only. Why? Because personal domain happens to be very, a casual domain, where a lot of rules generally we tend to overlook because of the relationship, because of the proximity and all of those factors. But when we get into academics, you have already moved into a little more formal domain, right? Now, after that, you worked together as a group. What will you be doing after that? You would be presenting that work to the class, you would be presenting it to your faculty, to the evaluators, and that work will then be looked at, evaluated, and then a particular response would be given over to you, right? Now think of a similar situation in the work domain. You are going in for client presentations. You have thought of something, you want it approved, you will be making those presentations. You will have to go ahead and do that work. So this becomes your experiment ground, your practice ground that gets converted into your professional learning, into your business applications. Here in your classroom, in your academic settings, you might be emailing to your faculty members, seeking clarity on the assignment given, seeking clarity on the deadlines, or going ahead and sharing your work with them, right? And into your professional setting, it will get converted into emails to your maybe heads, your colleagues, could be to your reporting heads, you could be writing reports, you could be submitting the work progress, or you could even be going ahead and seeking leave or something. That becomes a professional application of all that you're going through when you're learning through academics. So I always like to say, if you are in academics, you are a learner, please go ahead, work diligently, focus on developing your communication skills, because communication itself, by itself, is a very important tool that helps you go ahead, connect with others, helps you build a logical thinking, critical analysis, and rapport with your learners around, right? So along with that, all of those things that we have discussed here, there are certain contexts. Along these contexts, the general and the business communication, it is going to change. Say for example, what could be the purpose? Through that example, refer back to the example that I just shared with you. What could be the purpose? In general communication, it is casual, it could be personal. But business communication is always purpose driven. When we say purpose driven, it will be, okay, today I need to share this information, or it could be to persuade somebody. It could be to go ahead and get an approval. So it is always very purpose driven. It is very to the point. It is not just like I can drop a text and say, hi, how are you doing? I can do that in general communication, but I cannot do that in personal communication, right? Next, when we talk of the nature of the work or the nature of the communication, nature in general communication, it could be anything. When we are saying nature could be, all right, today we are planning a party, or we are planning to step out, or today we are planning how to go ahead and complete the grocery shopping. Whereas inside the business communication, the nature is going to be of grave, serious point. That today we are introducing a new concept, today we are presenting, today we are brainstorming. And the audience changes. General communication, in your daily life, the audience would be your friends, your family, somebody you know. Whereas in business communication, you could be, if you are in the space where you are into the client facing domain, You could be meeting and going ahead interacting with number of people whom you do not even know. That familiarity will not be there. It will change, it will evolve. And now get into the tone. Business, it has to be formal. Personal, it could get as casual as you want depending upon your relationship with the person. Language changes, the content changes. Documentation is required in business communication. They say if somebody has committed to doing a deed and saying that yes, I will complete it, it has to be documented. If it is not documented, it is not really considered to be really finally done. That is your business communication. Personal communication, have you ever said that, okay, go ahead, write it down? That is something that we do not really worry about too much. So there is a lot of difference between the two. If we look in terms of the definition, if I can bring it around to the final takeaway for this is that general communication then focuses on exchanging information and maintaining personal relationships in everyday life. Business communication is a structured, professional, and strategic process designed to achieve organizational goals through effective information exchange. Now see, it is designed, whereas general communication is something that just flows. It is not that much in terms of designed. Unless it is a difficult conversation that you're planning to have with someone, it will not require much of a design. The flow will not matter. What you're saying might not matter that much. In the end, it is just relating and maintaining your personal relationships. There comes the myth bursting that I would like you all to know, that communication is not an extra skill. It's what makes technical expertise usable. So what I like to say is, if you have the technical expertise, you're very good at accounts, you are very good, say, in coding, your technical skill is the one, the knowledge is the one that will open the doors for you. It will open the doors for you, but it is the communication, purposeful communication, that will ensure that you're able to walk through that. So to walk through the doors, you need communication that is well planned, that is structured. Whereas knowledge will open those doors for you. So both, they go hand in hand for you. Now this communication, it impacts you. Business communication, it impacts you as well as it impacts the business. How do we go about thinking of this? When you are thinking of yourself as a person, it will go ahead and impact your academics, right? Academics, how is it impacting your academics? If you are able to go ahead, complete your submissions on time, if you're able to communicate over to your class representative, if you're able to communicate well with your faculty members, you have good relationship going there, you have good submissions going there, you're working and developing your assignments, you're completing your projects, all of that, everything, it is dependent upon you being able to convey what you have here in your mind over to the person who's sitting across, right? That is academics. Every single day, whether you read, you write, you express, you meet, every single part is getting impacted. Your job search will be impacted. How you are framing your resume, how you are drafting your cover letter. Do you think resume needs to be framed once, or do you think it needs to be it needs to be reframed, it needs to be customized every time that you go ahead, right? So that job search, it is also directly impacting you. So their communication happens. Are you able to send across a successful communication for application of a job? A lot of students I have come across, they are beautiful, they are very intelligent, perfect in terms of academics. But when it comes to job search, they keep applying, but they do not hear back. There's a reason, because the way they are applying, the way they have drafted their resume, maybe there's something lacking there. So it impacts your job search, and next it impacts your first job as well. When you walk into the office for the first time, at that point of time, you will see that yes, how I connect with people, every small little thing that you will be going through, beginning from day one till the first year, the first job, how you are able to establish yourself will depend, right? Next is your business. That is the business end. In the business end, everyday operation, everyday intel that you're gathering, how you're relating to others, that business gets impacted. It impacts you, it impacts everyone, right? If you're looking at all of this, if you're looking into the customer experience, think if you visited a cafe, you spent an evening there, you ordered coffee, it was delivered to you, you enjoyed it, and you came back. I want you to pause here and think. Was it just the communication between you and the person who served you there? Or how many other people were involved? What might have been going on behind the scenes? What information had to be shared before your coffee reached your table? Was communication limited to you speaking only? And what technologies were supporting the work that you were doing? Look into that. So a simple one thing that you are looking at, an experience of going ahead enjoying coffee with a friend in a cafe, also involves a lot of behind the scenes communication, that is professional communication, right? So with that, now we have come over to the end of today's lecture. I would like you to think of business communication as something that extends beyond emails, beyond meetings, an integral part. Thank you so much for joining me today.